Helmut Marko has admitted that it is theoretically possible that Sebastian Vettel will return to Red Bull as an advisor. After a highly successful career, Vettel left Formula 1 at the end of last season. He is most associated with Red Bull, having won the Drivers' Championship with the team 4 years in a row from 2010 to 2013. Many fans hope the German legend will return to the paddock one day, either racing or as a manager. Marko has expressed some optimism that it might happen in the future, but he emphasizes that Vettel must first find himself before attempting any comeback. Marko believes that if Vettel decides to retire, he would make an excellent replacement as Red Bull's technical advisor. Theoretically, Marko said when asked if Vettel could follow in his footsteps in a few years. However, I believe Sebastian must first discover himself. He must know what he desires in the future. In the meantime, Vettel has a lot of work to do away from the track. After years of competing, the 35-year-old stated that he wants to spend more time with his family, and he is also a strong environmental campaigner who may look to develop those interests. Despite admitting that applied ownership of the German was split between the teams, former BMW team principal Mario Dyson was happy to share Vettel with Red Bull. Without a doubt, I have to say that Red Bull was fantastic. They looked after Sebastian even during his karting days. We were delighted to join him and educate him on the BMW and Red Bull sides, he said on the Beyond the Grid podcast. I remember in his Formula BMW days, we had quite a good education program for all the drivers, which he participated in. Simultaneously, Red Bull had something similar in which he also participated. Of course, we could have offered him a race seat, but that was not the right move because in 2007, we were on the verge of becoming a winning team. We were already quite powerful, and we had high hopes for 2008, and we had a strong team at the time with Nick Heidfeld and Robert Kubica. Sebastian was a 19-year-old kid, and I thought putting him in the car instead of one of the two experienced drivers was too dangerous, so it was only natural that I did not block him. But at the time, let him take the risk with Red Bull and Toro Rosso. There was no agreement between Red Bull and BMW. Dyson, on the other hand, was quick to point out that, despite letting Vettel slip through his fingers, he was always impressed with his application, which led to him being hired as a test driver at BMW and participating in his first F1 session at the Turkish Grand Prix in 2006. I met him when I was 14 in the Formula 1 paddock, he added. I'm Sebastian, he said, ripping my shirt. The following year, I'll be in Formula BMW with you. I had a close friendship with him, and on those days, he demonstrated his strategy to me. He even paid us a visit at home, and we went for a run at 5 AM. At the age of 16, he kept a record of every test he took. Unbelievable. He was extremely professional and tenacious, but we had a deal with Red Bull. Sebastian was sponsored by both BMW and Red Bull throughout his career, so when the opportunity presented itself with our team, he became our test driver. After winning the first 5 races, including 4 1-2 finishes, Red Bull is in a position where they cannot lose either world title this season. Max Verstappen's 3 victories in Bahrain, Australia and Miami last time out put him 14 points ahead of teammate Sergio Perez in the Drivers' Championship, with the Mexican also winning in Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan. Fernando Alonso is another 30 points back, while Red Bull leads the Constructors' Championship with 224 points, while Aston Martin is only on 102. On the 6 previous occasions, no team has ever lost either of the World Championships after winning the season's first 5 races. McLaren was the first to accomplish this in 1988, when Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost won all but one of the 16 races, with the Brazilian narrowly edging out his teammate to win the World Championship. In 1992, Nigel Mansell won the first 5 races before cruising to his only World Championship ahead of teammate Riccardo Patrese. Williams made another strong start with Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve 4 years later. The Brit edged out his Canadian rival to win his only World Championship in the season finale at Suzuka. Michael Schumacher matched Mansell's record of 5 consecutive wins at the start of a season before winning the 2004 title easily ahead of teammate Rubens Barrichello. Mercedes also accomplished the feat in 2014 and 2019, with Lewis Hamilton winning the final race ahead of Nico Rosberg in the former and beating Valtteri Bottas 4 years ago. Red Bull won't be popping the cork just yet, as the team is already weary that rivals such as Mercedes, Ferrari and Aston Martin are working on upgrades to add performance in the coming races. Vettel's best years in Formula 1 were with Red Bull, where he won 4 drivers' championships. He drove for Ferrari and Aston Martin after leaving them in 2015, but when rumours about his return surfaced, they all pointed to a possible return to Red Bull. Helmut Marko, Red Bull's current chief advisor and head of its junior academy, will turn 80 years old later this week. Even though he is still going strong and is determined to lead the team to even greater glory, there have been discussions about Marko's replacement when he finally decides to retire. For some time, Vettel has been linked to taking over Marko's role at Red Bull. Marko confirmed to Blick that he is contacting Vettel about a possible return. However, the 4-time world champion is currently undecided about what he wants to do. Marko believes that Vettel wants to avoid returning to the hectic life of working in F1 and traveling worldwide all year. Furthermore, Marko stated that Vettel would not accept the money Red Bull was willing to offer him. "We are still in contact," he stated. "At the moment, Seb is still finding himself and he wants to attend only some races right now, especially not for so little money." When Fernando Alonso left F1 at the end of the 2018 season, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton were certain he would return, and they were correct. The Spaniard will return to the sport with Alpine in 2021. When Vettel announced his retirement in 2022, Alonso responded with the exact same remarks. Vettel will return to the sport as a driver, according to both Alonso and Hamilton. Until now, Vettel hasn't hinted at a desire to return to racing. However, Vettel admitted that he missed being around the sport and that watching it on TV at home felt strange. Sebastian Vettel's future in Formula 1 is fraught with possibilities and outcomes. Let's take a look at some scenarios that could shape his future career. Vettel's return to Red Bull Racing allows him to rediscover his championship-winning form. If the team can provide him with a competitive car and he can establish a strong working relationship with his teammate Max Verstappen, Vettel could challenge for race wins and potentially add to his World Championship collection. Vettel's knowledge and experience make him an invaluable asset to any team. His role at Red Bull could go beyond his on-track performance, with the possibility of becoming a mentor to younger drivers and contributing to the team's overall performance. Vettel has already carved out a remarkable legacy in Formula 1, but his future endeavours could further cement his place in the sport's history. If he can recover and succeed at Red Bull Racing, or possibly another team in the future, he will cement his place as one of Formula 1's all-time greats. While Vettel's return to Red Bull is exciting, the Formula 1 world is volatile. There's always the chance that Vettel will consider joining another team in search of new challenges or a fresh start. Such a move could provide him with a new setting to showcase his abilities and pursue greater success. In the future, Vettel may pursue opportunities outside of Formula 1. As his career progresses, he may consider other racing series endurance events such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans, or even a career in the motorsport industry such as team management, driver coaching or media work. Sebastian Vettel's future in Formula 1 is ultimately determined by a number of factors, including his performance, team dynamics, car development, and personal ambitions. Whatever path he chooses, Vettel's name will undoubtedly remain synonymous with Formula 1, and his impact on the sport will be felt for many years. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and you definitely want to see the next video.